Hello, I am your host, Kathy Chester, and welcome to the Move It or Lose It podcast, a podcast about all things that move the mind, body, and soul. The Move It or Lose It podcast is for information, awareness, and inspirational purposes only. I am not a doctor, and I don't even play one on TV, so please consult your doctor before making any medical decisions. The views expressed by advertisers, guests, or contributors are their opinions and not necessarily the views of the Move It or Lose It podcast. Hi, today we're here, another episode of Move It or Lose It. Today my guest is Lydia Guerrero. Did I say it right? Okay. So today I've got her with me as a guest because we were talking about adaptive wear, but today she is got the company that is called Infusion Wear. And I'm really excited because this has been a company started from grassroots, which is always exciting to me because that's how I got started. So Lydia, thank you so much for being on Move It or Lose It podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I was very interested in just watching some of your things on Instagram and stuff and just watching what went into it and how you just started really from the beginning. And I love the grassroots and how you did it. So talk to us a little bit. First, I want to go back and talk about that you also are an MSer. And
Yes.
so tell us about your diagnosis and when you were diagnosed.
So I was actually diagnosed back in 2011. I was 31 years old, and my symptom was that my right hand was numb. And it was weird that it was numb, and it kind of wasn't something to complain about until it was something to
Yeah.
complain about. And so I went to the doctors. They sent me to occupational therapy. I saw them one time, and they said, it's not carpal tunnel. So we're not going to waste your time, and we're not going to waste ours. Perfect. Save me some of my copay. But I went
Right.
to physical therapy for 7 months. Physical therapy for
Wow.
7 months before the physical therapist finally said, I'm going to send you back because we're not getting anywhere. And so I would do things like I would be put in a traction where they would like pull my head back, like my head from my
Uh-huh.
neck, and then say, is it still numb? I'm like, yes. So I went back to the doctor, and at that point, this particular doctor's visit was the only one I had brought my husband along with me on. And at this point, now they wanted to do a test where the way they explained it is that they were going to put clamps on my nerves to see if my nerves were good or not. And that sounded painful. Right? And so my husband was like, "No, we're not doing that." And the doctors are like, "Well, this is gonna tell us." And he's like, "No, we want an MRI." They
Good.
argued against it, but ultimately, we ended up doing the MRI and not the
Good.
other nerve test that they did. And that's actually where the lesion in my neck was revealed.
Okay.
And so that's what they only did a neck MRI
Okay.
because of where my
Right.
symptom was at, right? And
Right.
so from that, they said, okay, we found a mass. They referred to it as a mass. They didn't know what it was, and they said, it's possibly going to be cancerous, and this is what
I love
we're going to
that
work
when
at.
they give you all these
It's
like
right away,
terrifying things.
right? Yes, right away. It's cancer, and we're the plan was it's probably cancer. It's probably a tumor. We're going to go in and do surgery on your spine, and you possibly may never walk again. But if you are able to walk again, we're going to send you to a rehabilitation center for 6 months. So plan for that. Now, keep in mind, I was also soon to start my master's program. And
Wow.
so, okay, so they said before we go in and do something invasive like the surgery, they were going to do more tests. So they did the MRI on my brain and a spinal tap,
Wow.
and that's actually where they found out that it was a lesion. It was MS. It wasn't a tumor. It wasn't cancerous. My first MRI revealed that I had the one on my spine and 12 in my brain, 12 lesions in my brain.
Wow. I was gonna say once they got to your head, they were gonna see a lot more.
Everything. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's how, and actually received. So I mentioned I was going to be starting my master's program. I
Yeah.
actually got the news that that I had MS at 3 o'clock, and my first day of grad school was at 4:30.
What did you do? Did you go?
I cried. I cried. I cleaned up my face. Because in addition to that, so I'm so excited, right? Like I'm going back to school and I'm gonna get my
Yeah.
master's, and like the way I refer to it, like I'm getting my hoodie, so it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it was February 7th, 2011, and kind of just to throw like another something into that date in particular, the significance of February 7th. It was also a day that would have been my mom's 53rd birthday, and my mom had been gone for 3 years already. So
Mm.
it was all just a
Yeah.
whole lot of emotions on that day. I was
To not
excited,
even be able to
mourning.
process.
Yes, and I didn't even know what MS was, but I just know now, like,
Right.
okay, I have to give myself shots, and it's a disease, and it's not gonna go away. And
Right.
so, yeah, I actually so my mom, like, growing up, my mom was sick, and so, I knew and I learned from her, like, you gotta keep on fighting. You have to keep
Right.
on going. And so my mom,
Right.
even on her bad days, if she said if she were able to get up and get dressed, and that's all she can do, then that was a good day. And
Right.
so
What
now,
a
yes.
great example you had.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I really, really did. And so now, yeah, I cleaned up my face and I went to grad school. And I actually
Wow.
ended up graduating and I didn't need surgery.
Wow. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't have to do any surgery. They
yeah,
realized you had MS.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
So insane. The things that I hear when patients go in to get tested, I'm like, wow, the things that they think that it could be and just want to go after it.
yes, yes,
Cut, cut, cut. And it's I'm like just
yes,
like, wow, wow, wow.
yes,
So I'm so glad they didn't do that to you. And so
yeah.
then once they knew you had MS, what was the journey from there? Did they want to put you on a DMT right away?
I actually started Avonex. I started with
Okay.
Avonex, yeah. So I did the weekly injections, which was horrible. So I did
Yeah,
mine
I
on
remember that.
Thursdays. Yes. So I during that time, because my husband and I, we have two sons, and
Uh-huh.
during that time they were middle school age, and so we had football games. Like the
Yes.
weekends were, on the
Oh
field
yeah.
outside. So I
Yep.
did my infusion. I did my shots on a Thursday, so that on Friday I can be sick at work.
Yeah.
The good thing is she's one of my best friends now. I had an amazing aide at the time, and she wasn't my aide, we were co-teachers, and she took over. So Fridays, like, she knew I was there just as a body, and she took over, and then by Saturday I was good enough for the boys games or whatever we
Okay.
had to do. So that was the
Yeah.
first year. The first year was Avonex. After the first year, my first MRI showed that I had increased in brain lesions by 4. So
Okay.
now I had
Wow.
16 brain lesions.
Yeah.
So
So it
obviously
wasn't holding
Avonex,
you.
it was
Yeah.
not working,
Didn't
right?
hold me either.
No, okay, yeah, yeah. So I mean, to gain 4 in a year, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So the next thing was Tysabri.
Mhm.
I did Tysabri, uh, for only 6 months. I did
Okay.
Tysabri for 6 months because then,
That's right,
like,
because you became JC.
JC, uh-huh, yes,
Yeah.
so that had to stop, and then from there, I actually was sent to another neurologist because my neurologist at the time, she's like, "I don't know what else to do for you," and she sent me to an MS specialist who,
Okay.
and I'm so thankful for that. She's about an hour and a half away from where I live, but I live
Mhm.
in LA, so everything is traffic, and an hour and a
Okay.
half is probably like
Right.
20 minutes somewhere else,
Yes.
So
Having visited
so
there, I'm like, everything's far.
yeah,
So yeah.
everything's far. But after that though, and she's
Except food.
amazing. Yeah, 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 that's everywhere. Um, but yeah, so this neurologist, she's amazing. Like she's
Good.
my neurologist still now, and she actually is the one who said, "I'm gonna put you on something that's not an MS medication. It's actually
Okay.
treated more for leukemia patients." She said, "But I really think it's gonna be beneficial, and I think one day it will become an MS medication."
Wow.
And
So what are
that's
you on
Rituxan.
now?
Rituxan.
Yeah.
Well, they've changed the
Yeah.
names. They've changed the name so
Right.
many, like 3
Yeah.
times. I don't know what it's called now, but when I
Now
first
it's
started,
Ocrevus. Well, I think
yes.
it's like
No.
Ocrevus is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Ocrevus is another one. This one is some,
Yeah.
like, they changed it
Ocrevus is
to,
like the big brother
yes,
of our
okay.
text. Yeah. So
Got it.
I'm now on Ocrevus because I was on
Okay.
Tysabri for years and I did really well. And
Yeah.
I'm on Ocrevus now. So
Okay.
I don't love it, but
Uh-huh.
it's what I'm on right now. It has
Yeah.
cut me out of a relapse. So
Well, that's
I'm
good.
grateful for that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you've been
Yeah.
doing well on that then.
Yes. So I've actually
Okay.
been on this one for, I think, 11 years now.
Wow. That's
Yes.
good.
Yes. So
Really
I
good.
for about 9 years, I was every 6 months, and then,
Uh,
I had my visit, and the doctor is like, I've only had 2 relapses over the course of the 10 years. And,
Okay.
so she's like, let's try to keep this on you for the long haul. And so
Right.
now I only do once a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then let's fast forward. So then, like we all are uncomfortable. Usually I've got, one sleeve hanging out or it's too tight. Because back, I mean, I always trained. I was always a trainer. So I always had tight shirts on. And I'd
Yeah.
have to take one arm off. That'd be freezing.
Mhm.
And I'd have, scratchy blankets on, all that.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, let's get it done. And so then you had the same thing. We all did. We all had to suffer through all that.
Yeah.
So, what did you see and what made you think, like, I want to do something, I want to have something that's more comfortable? Because I felt the same. There's not a creative bone in my body except for cooking and teaching training. Other than that,
Okay.
no, I go by a Michael's store and I get hives. So, I don't know how. I love when people like this create things because it excites
Yeah.
me because I
Uh-huh.
cannot do that. So, how did you look at it and think I could do that? So I
It's
know that you
so
said
funny.
you saw one and you looked at it and it was like $140 or whatever. You're like,
Yes.
I can't get that.
Yes. So yeah, it was actually an ad on Instagram that I had seen, and I can't remember the name. It's not like a well-known name. Say,
Right.
I actually haven't even seen the ads really after that point. But I saw this concept with what I now know is referred to as adaptive wear, and it was a hooded sweatshirt, zip up with a zipper in each sleeve. And I was so excited. I said, "Oh my gosh, this is genius! Like, I
Yeah.
need this." And so when I went to purchase it, it was $140. And I had to just like backpedal, like,
Right.
okay, hold on. How can I make this?
And
And
all of
so,
us with these diseases are so wealthy. So we could all
right.
just run out and grab those.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Right. Because on top of medical bills, like, of course, we
Right.
have, on top of taking time off of work to
Sure.
tend to our medical stuff. Yes, we do have extra money. And so yeah, exactly. That's exactly why. And so I had it made. It was literally 5 days, a 5-day span until my treatment day, until my infusion,
Hmm.
right? I don't know how to sew. I'm afraid of needles. So I'm afraid of poking myself with a needle. And
Yeah.
so I bought a sweatshirt at Michael's. I bought a little 4-inch zipper at Michael's, and I took it to a seamstress, and I had the sweatshirt made. And I only put it on the left arm because my left arm is always good. So I put it on. I
Funny,
was
mine
super
too.
yeah, yeah. So that
I'm
was
left-handed, so
oh, really?
now that's the only one they can do because they always did my right arm so that
Uh-huh.
I could work, but
Mhm.
now that's shot. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I only had to put in the left arm because I knew it was gonna be good. And
Yeah,
the infusion went so well. I slept comfortably during my after my Benadryl injection, right?
fine.
Um, but I was able to just move my arm and not have to unravel myself. I was able to
Right.
have the blood pressure cuff on, so I didn't have to take my arm out of the sweatshirt. I had it up and my blood pressure cuff was on, and then my IV was right here. And so
Which
every time
is
the nurse came,
huge.
yes, yeah, and the tape that keeps
Yes.
it in place. Yeah, it's a mess. And so after that, yeah, that's when my husband was with me on that infusion, and I said, we
Mhm.
have to make this affordable for people who need it. And
Yeah,
I mean, we're surrounded by neighborhoods and people who are not super rich and wealthy.
right.
We know a lot of people, and both my husband and I came from families who we did live paycheck to paycheck,
Yeah,
and that was my target. And so I
yeah,
was so excited at that point. Like, I told my husband, like, we need to make a business. We can make a
yeah,
business. This is good, and people need to know about it, right?
yeah,
Not even so much for like just know about infusion wear, but know about the concept, because I
yeah.
have been receiving infusions for 13 years and I never knew about adaptive wear.
Right. No, I did not at all.
Yeah. And so I was super excited. And then of course, when you start talking about something and your phone listens, then you start getting ads
Yeah. Oh,
for
yeah.
that, right? So then I started getting ads for adaptive wear. And I
Right.
told my husband, I'm like, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe like there's companies that do it already. And he said, how many different companies make t-shirts? You have Gildan, you have Hanes, you have Fruit of the Loom, you have tons more. And I was
Right.
like, you know what? He's like, there's space for everybody. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Okay, cool. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually,
Good
funded,
guy.
but yeah, yeah, he's here for a reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, we funded it. We were like, okay, let's do this. A friend of mine who we worked together years ago, she's an older lady and I love her. Um, she's a seamstress. And
Oh,
so she's
nice.
like, yeah, so she's like, okay, like I can help you. And before her, I did have this lady who really, really helped me out, just get it started. Her name was Imelda, and Imelda was amazing too because Imelda knows how to sew, but
Uh-huh.
sewing zippers to things was new for her, and
Yes.
she did it.
Sure.
Like she was good. And then I have this new lady, Miss Caroline, and Miss Caroline actually went out and she knew what machines we needed, sewing machines, because okay, we need a sewing machine, right?
Right.
I was going to Joann's and looking around, and she's like, "Don't waste your time on that. That's not going to work." And she literally, we now have two industrial sized sewing machines
Yeah.
in our
That's
home.
all. Yeah, because you need to
It,
have it so it's soft and like I
yeah,
wouldn't know how to do that. I would
yeah,
just know I wouldn't want a scratchy zipper on the
yes,
inside.
yes, yes.
So yeah, so it sounds like she knew exactly what you needed.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, and we had an extra room in our home, and now that extra room is the infusion wear, everything. We literally work out of our home. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, we have the sewing machines, we ordered
Uh,
sweatshirts, we ordered zippers, we played with sizing. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, so we started with sweatshirts with zippers in the sleeves, and now we have with zippers in the chest port
Uh,
for people who have chest
right.
ports.
Hmm.
And we also now are going to soon be launching our children's line of
Oh, I
sweatshirts.
love that. That's
Mhm.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
so good. The Move It or Lose It podcast is proudly sponsored by Disrupting MS Together, designed to help you take control of your wellness while living with multiple sclerosis. Disrupting MS Together aims to increase mobility through functional movement. Coaches Kathy Chester and Molly Witt seek to connect the mind, body, and spirit with guided, focused online workouts and coaching. You'll get targeted workouts sent directly to your email and Q&A sessions with licensed coaches, early access to podcast episodes with experts in the industry, group workout sessions through Zoom, and curated content that you won't find anywhere else. Early bird pricing is only available for the pilot program, so don't wait. Check it out now. The program includes a tremendous amount of benefit from seasoned coaches who also live and thrive with multiple sclerosis. Learn more and take the leap today. Visit www.msdisrupted.com to learn more and snag your spot now while you can.
Yeah.
So you started it. How did you start to market it?
Well, so we we made an Instagram, right? We made an Instagram, and my kids who are now in their mid-20s, and my daughter-in-law,
Mm,
because my one of my sons is married. It's a whole family thing. It is
that's
a whole
lovely.
family effort, right? Like everybody
I
is in
love
this.
that.
One of my sons started with the website. My other son is kind of like the muscles behind things. My husband is the funder, and I have the ideas, and I'm the bossy one.
Yeah.
And then my daughter-in-law, she adds like feedback a lot too.
Yeah.
And so we started, we were like, okay, Instagram is free. Let's make a free Instagram account. And then my kids are like, okay, but you need to do TikTok too. What? Like I've never
I
done
know. I felt the
TikTok
same
in
way.
front of a camera. Like that's not what I signed up for. I want to sell sweatshirts. I don't want to be a
Yeah.
content creator. But I
I
quickly learned you have
know.
to be a content creator too.
Yeah, you
So
do.
yes, yes, yes.
My marketing
So
girl always says you have to do your TikTok video. I'm like, no,
yes, yes,
but you
yes.
do.
Yes. Yeah, so I quickly learned that. Um, and that's been working for us. We have an Etsy
Yeah.
shop up, we have our website up, and then a lot of so far it's been a lot of word of mouth, a lot of
Yeah.
networking. I was blessed enough to meet a lady named Valerie, and Valerie plays a
Uh,
big impact, a big part in infusion wear and networking on the business side because she actually purchased a sweatshirt from me. for her mom who was going through chemo. And
Okay.
and then she invited me to some like business meetings and stuff. And so
Yeah.
my background is education. I have a master's in
Hmm.
education. I've worked in education for over 20 years.
Yeah, you
My
do, because you're
background
a badass that when did it, even with
yeah, I
MS and
still did
even
it.
all the shit that happened that day, you were like, I can do
Yes,
this. So
yes,
yeah, you
yes.
do.
Yes, tear stained face and everything, but yeah, I showed up. Yeah, so Valerie introduced me to like the business side of things. And so I started
Yeah.
networking with a lot of other small business owners,
Yeah.
large business owners, people who know people. And yeah, that's where we are today. And then we
Really
also
good.
got involved with a lot of like pop-up shops. My
Yeah.
goal still is to get into hospitals, and that has
Yes.
been so far our biggest barrier, but
Yeah.
we've
Hurdle to
only been
get.
open since March, so
Yeah,
we're
that's so
only a
good. And
six-month-old company.
those are the hurdles. I mean, I bump into that a lot where I'll
Mhm.
go to do something and there's a lot franchises that all of a sudden I'll bump into and I can't get in. It's like, well, my faith is very large, and I would say I love Jesus, but I cuss a bit. And I just will
Good.
notice that I'm just like, oh, dang it. Like, I can't get
Uh-huh,
past that hurdle. But I'm
uh-huh,
always like, that door's shut, but I know another one's going to open. And I
yeah,
know that what I do is from the bottom of my heart. And I love each client I have. I love the story. Like, I loved having my gym, but it compares nothing to having someone who has secondary or something say, I stood in the shower the whole time. Well, I just
yeah,
flopped down in tears. There's nothing that compares to that. So I
yes.
assume for you, having someone say, I had my infusion, it was the most comfortable that I've been. It's
I
got to
get
feel like
chills.
this was worth it. I did it
Yes,
and it was worth it.
I get
So,
chills. I
yeah,
get like, I wish I can like put into a message when I'm responding, like, and they can feel how appreciative, like how happy I am that
yeah,
it's working for them. Because honestly, like, I'm not in this to make money. I'm in
right,
this so that people can know about it
right,
and get what they need, right?
right,
Just make
right.
the hardest part of your life a little bit more simpler.
Yeah,
A little bit
yeah.
more warm and cozy because hospitals are cold and
Right.
that's the whole point of this.
Exactly, it's
Yeah.
cold.
So,
And the thing is you do have to make money because we have to live.
yes. Yes.
So there's that, but I love that what you're doing is trying to take something that can be sold for so much money, and you've tried to make it in a way that, no, I can make this in a way that I can live, I can make money, but I want it so that you can wear it and purchase it
Right.
and it's not so above you that
Mhm.
there's no way you can. And
Right.
that's a hard thing to do, and I run into that with my business is my heart's so big and I end up taking so much off of what it is that it's like I'm like, I don't think I actually made anything this month. So I have to be careful, but
Yeah.
I feel you in that because it's like
Yeah.
our heart is like, I just want you comfortable. I just want you to know movement. I want you to feel better. And
Yes.
so in that, tell me what so far has been your biggest success, like the biggest thing that you've had happen that you're like, oh, that was just amazing.
Anytime I receive, or I'm gonna say we because we're all in a group on this, but anytime we receive an order and then receive like a picture and like a thank you note, that alone, hands down, is everything. That is
Yeah.
everything. Because at this point, like, our name is getting out there, and that's
Yeah.
what we want. That's what we want to do. Um, and but just knowing that someone was kept warm and they're actually happy with something they bought from
Yeah.
us, that's everything. It honestly
Yeah.
is. We've been approached by a few different investors,
Yeah.
and those are always fun too, like, wow, this
For
can
sure.
explode, and one day it's going to be
Right.
one day. um and they say, well, we can, send it overseas, and you can purchase your products for a lot less, and still make, that's not where we're at right now.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Very
yes,
smart.
we can. Yes, that's
Yeah.
absolutely what can happen. But right
Yeah.
now we're still in the heart of it. And so
Yeah. Very
that's where we're
smart.
at. Yeah.
You have to protect it. What you made is beautiful. And I am
Mhm.
told that, with my family when it's hard and I'm like, "Ooh, I could do this." And they're like, "But I have a list of my values." And when it gets tough, I go back to my values and I'm like, "But what are my values in starting this?" And so I love that you do that. I think that's why I felt so in sync and seeing your stuff.
Mhm.
And I just really, it meant a lot to me to give you this time to be able to talk about it because I'm like, in my podcast, it's always really important to me to do patients and then people that are you just happen to be a patient and someone. I love to have obviously different doctors on, but also people that are like really like companies that are making gadgets and things for us that help our life easier, whether
Right.
it's for us walking, whether it's for us
Right.
comfort wise, but things that really do make it easier that are not so phenomenally expensive that we could never it's
Right.
not for the 1% that could
Right.
use it. And so this just really grabbed me because I'm like, there's so many things that we could use that I think that so many of our MSers and different autoimmune diseases look at and think that'd be great. I can't get that. And I think of when I was a single mom for many years, and I was trying to put food on the table for 3 kids. And I was grateful to get my infusion, but I was like, whatever you have, I might be freezing, but I
Right.
got to get back to work because I have 3 kids to feed.
Yeah.
So I love that you're doing that because that's always my heart is thinking of the single parent or the person that's just trying to get through. And I was on chemo and I was just thinking of those things. And so it really grabbed me that that's really your heart because I think it's beautiful. So
Thank you.
if
Thank
you
you.
could say one thing to someone who's in pain and that you've developed this for, what would it be?
There's good days and there's bad days.
Yeah.
There's good days and there's bad days. Sit in those sad feelings, sit in those mad feelings, but don't get stuck there.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, now
And
tell me what you're looking forward to the most as this grows. What are you the most excited for?
I'm most excited just for I wanna see people in infusion wear. I wanna
Yeah,
see infusion wear in your hospital gift shops. I want to see
yeah.
infusion wear being shared on social media. Like, I just wanna see it out there. And
Well, you're
that's
going to see
what
this
yeah.
on the podcast. You'll see this. And so I'm excited about that. So
Yeah.
I want to be able to share you. So you're going to have to help me after to be able
Okay.
to share this.
Yeah, no,
And I'm
definitely.
so excited for you. And I'm going to be able to put this out there. And I think a lot of people will see this and really see your heart. So I think it'd be fun. I want to have a picture of your whole family doing
Okay.
this if you can get them to do it. But I think it's
Yeah.
really cool that it's all family because that
Yeah.
says a lot about you, your
Uh-huh.
heart, and your family.
Yeah.
So Lydia, I'm so excited to meet you. I've wanted to meet you, and I'm so excited about what you're doing. And promise me that we're going to do this again and do a checkup and
Absolutely.
how
Yes,
you're
yes.
doing. And I want to know that we do a check-in. I want to know that they're in hospitals and gift shops. So we're going to do our best to make sure that happens. So I'm
Yes.
super excited about what you do. You are a beautiful person,
Thank
really, truly.
you.
You have a beautiful heart, and I love what you're doing. And I can't wait to see these all over. And I will do my best to help. So I'm really, really
No,
blessed by
thank
you.
you.
So
Yeah, no,
I
thank
hope
you
that you
so
guys
much.
are too.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
well,
Yeah.
I am going to end this one today, but you can be sure that Lydia will be back with our news and how it's going next time. So, to you guys, I will say goodbye and can't wait to see you guys next week. And you can say goodbye to Lydia. And if you want to check her out, Lydia, they go onto Instagram, and your Instagram
Yes.
handle is what?
Infusion Wear Co. On Instagram, and our website, infusionwearco.com.
Perfect. And I will have that also on the bottom of the podcast. So have a great day, guys. Again, thank you, Lydia, for being with us. All right, guys. Bye bye. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Move It or Lose It podcast. It would mean the world to me if you subscribed and left a review. Remember, you can find me on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. New episodes of the Move It or Lose It podcast air every other Wednesday. If you have any suggestions for future guests or topics, please visit my website at www.msdisrupted.com. Until next time.